Today we see Charles Oliveira smiling for selfies with fans, strolling with lions, wearing suits that belong in Hollywood movies, and enjoying the life of a champion. He looks confident, almost untouchable, but behind that image of wealth, fame, and success lies a story few know, a story of struggle, perseverance, and an unbreakable will that began in one of the toughest neighborhoods in Brazil. At just 9 years old, Charles was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, a disease that attacks the body's joints and muscles. Doctors doubted he would ever walk again. They warned him to avoid sports, especially high-impact disciplines, and even ordinary physical activity was difficult because of his limited eyesight. Football, boxing, anything professional seemed impossible. During his first 5 years in the UFC, many called him a quitter. They said he lacked the heart of a champion, that he would never fight for a title. But Charles had a different story written for him, a story of determination that no one could predict. Charles Oliveira was born into a very humble family in Guarujá, São Paulo, Brazil, just a few streets from the Vicente de Carvalho favela. Life there was unforgiving. Violence was everywhere. Poverty, gangs, and crime shaped the environment. For most kids, survival was the first challenge. Dreams were a distant luxury. From a young age, Charles dreamed of becoming a football player. Like countless Brazilian children, he imagined stadiums, cheering fans, and glory. But at the age of 9, life handed him a challenge that would test him in ways no football match could. The disease he had since birth began attacking his joints, and everyday movements became painful struggles. He spent 2 long years in the hospital. First, the doctors discovered an abnormal heart rhythm. Then the diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis came, a chronic autoimmune disease with no cure, where the body attacks itself. The treatments were grueling, the routines exhausting, but Charles endured. When he left the hospital at age 11, he still required medication. Many would have felt broken, but Charles's mother, determined to keep him away from the dangerous paths surrounding the favela, encouraged him to find strength through sports. A family friend, Paulo, introduced him to free jiu-jitsu classes. Charles excelled immediately. Tragically, Paulo was killed in a shooting 2 years later. He never witnessed the incredible rise of his protege. Growing up in the favelas also meant constant danger. In 2017, Brazil recorded an average of 175 murders per day. Despite this, Charles refused to be defined by violence. He trained, fought, and focused on building a future that was different from what surrounded him. By the age of 18, Charles Oliveira had already begun to dominate local jiu-jitsu tournaments. Just after his 18th birthday, he stopped taking anti-inflammatory injections. The illnesses were gone. His body, once fragile and sickly, was now strong, agile, and ready for professional combat. He made his MMA debut in the Predator FC Grand Prix, winning 3 consecutive fights to become champion. Between 2008 and 2010, he built a record of 12 straight victories, earning the attention of the UFC, the world's biggest MMA stage. Once in the UFC, Charles faced new challenges. He dropped to the 145-pound division, hoping his body would perform better at that weight. But weighing 180 pounds naturally, cutting weight was brutal. Some fights were declared catch weight. Losses piled up. One injury during training even left him temporarily paralyzed after a neck accident. Despite the pain, setbacks, and doubts, Charles returned to the octagon, defeating Miles Jury. But defeats against Anthony Pettis and Ricardo Lamas reminded him that even the strongest warriors face obstacles, and that resilience must be rebuilt after every fall. Returning to lightweight became his turning point. He faced former Bellator champion Michael Chandler, winning in the first round via submission. From that moment, everything began to change. Charles went on a historic streak: 8 consecutive victories, 7 finishes by knockout or submission. Tony Ferguson was the only fighter who survived his relentless attack, proving that Charles was evolving into a truly elite fighter. In October 2020, after 10 years of struggle and perseverance, he had his chance to unify the lightweight title against Justin Gaethje. Charles won, becoming champion of the UFC. Although he considered retirement, he returned in March 2021 for a final challenge against Michael Chandler, defending his title and earning Performance of the Night. Even champions stumble. In a highly anticipated bout, Charles faced Ilia Topuria and suffered a devastating defeat. For fans, it was shocking. For Charles, it was a reminder: greatness is never linear. Every warrior falls. Every defeat teaches a lesson. This loss did not break him. It forged him even stronger. He returned to training with renewed intensity, focusing on perfecting his technique, analyzing every mistake, and preparing for the next monumental challenge: Max Holloway. Charles's training is legendary. Hours upon hours in the gym, drilling techniques, perfecting submissions, strengthening his body and mind. His diet is strict, his recovery regimen precise. He visualizes every fight, every scenario, anticipating opponents' moves, learning to control his fear, and turning pain into fuel. But it isn't just physical. The mental battles are constant. Years of overcoming illness, injury, and doubt taught him discipline, focus, and humility. Every setback in the octagon reflects the struggles of his youth. Every strike carries his past, his pain, and his determination to never quit. On March 8th, Charles Oliveira steps into the octagon against Max Holloway, a former champion and one of the most skilled strikers in MMA. The stakes are massive. Fans worldwide are watching. Every punch, kick, and submission attempt will carry the weight of Charles's entire journey. Growing up in the favelas, surviving illness, overcoming injury, and rising to the pinnacle of his sport. This is more than a fight. It's a testament to a life spent refusing to give up, a celebration of resilience, and a chance to prove that even after defeat, a warrior can rise stronger than ever. Charles Oliveira is now a national hero in Brazil and one of the UFC's most beloved fighters. Many doubted him, labeled him a quitter, but he has proven time and again that the human spirit can triumph against any odds. He gives back to the communities that raised him, returning to the favelas to help families in need. Every time he walks through Brazil, he stops to take photos with fans, sharing hope, inspiration, and the proof that determination can overcome even the toughest obstacles. The road ahead will be filled with challenges, tougher opponents, losses, and eventually retirement. But Charles Oliveira's story and his upcoming fight against Max Holloway will continue to inspire generations, reminding the world that true strength is not just measured in victories, but in the courage to rise after every fall.